PGA European Tour is brought to you by Volvo.
Well, last but by no means least on this sporting Sunday, golf round 4 of the Linde German Masters. Hello, I'm Steve Beddow here in the bunker for just about the last time as we bring you the conclusion of this low-scoring tournament with many issues still at stake. I guess an hour is barely sufficient to tell the story, but never mind, let's get out onto the course. Once again, ideal conditions as it was yesterday when Paul Broadhurst grabbed a share of the lead with a 65, and he shares it with fellow Midlander Peter Baker, who had a 64. They're both 16 under, one ahead of would-be Rookie of the Year Padraig Harrington, a 66 for 15 under. 3 67s in a row for Paul Eales, he too 15 under. And big hitting, Big D, Darren Clarke, a 67 after a second round 64. He also is 15 under. It's a quality leaderboard, and anyone's guess who will win, but whoever the victor is, they're going to have to shoot the lights out today. Colin Montgomery on the verge of being crowned #1 in Europe for the 4th year running, also in with a chance, and Costantino Rocca onto the end of the leaderboard with a 3rd round 64. Heavy rain overnight, but it's clear, no fog today. We had the delay yesterday, and not a breath of breeze really. Conditions are absolutely ideal. If they played golf indoors, this is what conditions really would be like. The rain's making the greens even more receptive. They're at a comfortable pace, and the leaders wasting no time in making their move. Darren Clarke an eagle 2 at the 4th after a birdie the 2nd to share the lead with Peter Baker, who's 29 tomorrow, and he started birdie to also be 18 under. Mitchell, Eales and Broadhurst just one back. Hasn't been Bernhard Langer's week, co-promoter. A little bit disappointed at the level of attendances, and made the cut at 4 under. And picked up with a 67 yesterday. This for a par at the last in the round of 68. Still softly catchy monkey. Only 6,500 golfers around the Berlin area, and not so many years ago where there wasn't much golf at all. So it's maybe a long-term project. And Langer, former winner of this tournament, finishing with a 68, just the one bogey. A good week, but he's still looking for that first win of 1966. Had some good scores, a 64 early on from Lee Westwood. Here's the par 5 5th hole, and Mark Davis, who hasn't done much since his share of second place at Aroeira in Portugal, making his move as well. Already in these early stages, some spectacular shot making. And the man from Essex looking to make his move. Not much has happened for Colin Montgomery so far. 4 straight pars, top 42, and he's #1 in Europe for the 4th year running, with Ian Woosnam having missed the cut, but he will have set his targets a little higher. First birdie of the day, 15 under. And now the man with the whiskers, Peter Mitchell. Twins are watching at home, that is Dad. And Mitchell's such a consistent season. And the greens are comfortable 9.5 on the stimp meter. Hit the putt right, it will go in. And here's the whiskered one, 18 under. And here's Darren Clarke moving into overdrive, a birdie at the 2nd, that eagle at 4, and this to go 19 under. Only the one win so far on the European Tour, and surely a winner in waiting. Tee to green, he's been so good. If he gets the putter working today, who knows? Well, Thomas Gergler has a chance of finishing above Langer as top German. Gergler with a 3rd round 64. And starting well today. Tied 2nd in the recent Volvo German Open. That got him his card. And it greatly increased his confidence. Well, Montgomery again. This time at the 8th. Made a par at 6. And this is for eagle. Top 42. He's looking for win #4 of the year. Said in recent weeks, 2 tournaments really, one against Ian Woosnam and then against the rest of the field. Playing with Greg Turner and Mark Davis. This for Davis to go to 18 under. Beautifully played, and he's 5 under now for his final round. Clarke do well. He's 20 under. And just made a birdie at 7. This is for eagle at 8, the par 5. Although the course par 72 really for the likes of Darren Clarke, it's around about a par 68. Got the power to take most of the fairway bunkers out of play, and certainly to reach the par 5s in 2. Anders Forsbrand won last year at 24 under. 24 under the low finish of the year. That was Conor Montgomery at Cron-sur-Sierre in the Canon European Masters. Here's Davis. Beauty. And he's got that to be out in 31. Around a couple of 64s in the past. Montgomery. Little short at the 9th in 2. It matters not. Topples in. And Monty out in 32. As he said at the start of the day, if I can't finish in the top 40, I'll give up the game. Well, he's not in danger of doing that, is he? So the pressure on Darren Clarke. Had 2 birdies at this hole already this week. And every chance of 3 out of 4. You can see the flag so still. And the green's receptive. It's target golf, really. And Europe's top stars showing that given the opportunity, they too can shoot the lights out. Clarke out in 37 under par for his first 9. And he's going to take some catching. Now Broadhurst. Just the 2 birdies so far. 1 at 2, 1 at 8. Second round 64. It's been a year of low rounds for Broadhurst. He's out in 34. By no means out of the reckoning yet. How about that for a leaderboard? Darren Clarke, though, has opened up a lead of 3 shots from Davis, Montgomery, Broadhurst and Baker. And Thomas Bjorn, who still has the issue of Rookie of the Year to settle with Padraig Harrington, has caught the Irishman. They're both 18 under. Bjorn with 2 holes to play. Tremendous start to this coverage of the final round, and there's more after the break. See you again tomorrow. Ken Brown will be my co-commentator for the Eurogolf tomorrow on Eurosport. But still, let's take a look at the final round, and Thomas Gergler delighting the German fans. We've seen Sven Struve come through this year, and well, what price? Thomas Gergler, 64 for the second day running, into the top 10. Now he needed top 3 to make the Volvo Masters, but even so, terrific weekend for Gergler. No wonder he's pleased. Well, Darren Clarke's got himself to 15 under. Made a birdie at 13, the par 5. And Billy Foster, the caddy, installing confidence. He's had a weakness, really. Had it not been for his putting, I'm sure he would have won many more tournaments than just the one under the belt so far, the 93 Alfred Dunhill Open at Knocklellerzoot, where he held off a determined challenge from Nick Faldo. But his putting in recent weeks has been a little better. Had a lesson from playing partner Peter Mitchell about a month ago. Sometimes just tries to dive the ball into the hole. Maybe if he can hit it past, then they will drop just like that. And Darren Clarke goes to 24 under. And he's going to take some catching now. Leads by 2, but anything is possible. Mark Davis, 22 under. Paul Broadhurst at 21. Ernie Els making his move a little late, perhaps. Colin Montgomery up there as well. And Thomas Bjorn in the clubhouse with a 63, his low round as a pro. And you see level with Padraig Harrington. Some great golf. And here is Monty at 16. Out in 32, but just the 1 birdie so far on the way home. And at 13. But he's going to be number 1 now for the 4th year running, going to equal the record of 4 successive Harry Vardon trophies set in the early 70s by Peter Oosterhuis, and Ooster, after 4 wins in a row, decided it was time to go to America. And Monty, on a smaller scale, going to do likewise. The target has to be a major now. He thinks playing a little more in America might help. But he's still going to be loyal to Europe. We'll play 17, 18 tournaments in next year's schedule. Would love to make it 5 in a row. So consistent. Mark Davis not so consistent, but he's capable of low scoring. Just had 3 birdies in a row at 13, 14 and 15. And McGinley. In 35, 1 bogey. Coming home, but a number of birdies, and there's a chance for yet another. And McGinley 18 under, but every opportunity to go to -19. So it's looking good for the Irish there after a Dunhill Cup trio of Clarke, Harrington and McGinley all going well. And the odds will be shortening all the time for St Andrews. And the 16th has a bunker that could come into play on the right-hand side. It's caught 1 or 2 out in the first 2 rounds, and I do believe that Darren Clarke's in there. He can fly most of the bunkers, not that one. Ernie Els, belated challenge birdies, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20 under. And who lost a playoff for this tournament 2 years ago to Sevi Ballesteros. Chance for a second birdie on the homeward half. Well, everywhere you look at people making putts, I do believe this may be the first tournament ever where they've increased the size of the holes on a Sunday. No other explanation for it there. Just shows that given the conditions, you wouldn't want them every week. Variety of the spice of life on the European Tour, but our lads can play just as well as anybody in the world. Started out here just over 4 years ago when Vicente Fernandez on that monster putt on 18 at the Belfry to win the English Open, and now everybody's making putts. Right, maybe a little tentative. Yeah, he needed to hit that a touch harder to hold the line. Ernie Els for a 2 at 17 knees, a strong finish. Well, he really needed to finish 2-3 to post a target. Michael Campbell playing with Ernie Els, struggling a little, needing a top 7 finish to keep his card. Paul Broadhurst, 6 top 10 in the last 8 appearances. Surely it will be 7 out of 9, but will it be better than that? Right on line. He's not out of this yet. Sadly, Greg Turner hasn't made a move. Finds himself, what, 7, 8 shots off the pace. And that's probably the story of the day for Greg. But here is the leader, Darren Clarke. He's far enough back in this bunker not to have to worry about the face. A cutty one. Ball first, take it clean. He's done that. He's done that. It's a beauty. Still a bit of work to do with the putts, but every shot in the bag now. Harrington left hand below right, so that means left to right swing. Just like that. I have a feeling he has a left hand below right for the straight ones as well. But there he is, 4 off the lead, but it's going to be another good week, and he's now 1 ahead of Thomas Bjorn. There's John, his caddy. They have a great relationship, but the rookie and the caddy who's seen it all. Nice to see Harrington smiling. Well, he's had that sort of year, I guess, but Always nice to see the competitors enjoying their work. See the Audi car on offer for a hole-in-one at 17. Pin cut at the front. Only a wedge or a 9-iron for the players. Going through the other good rounds. Mark Rowe, 67. Manu Canonica, a 65. Siamo Sandin, a 65 as well. Paul Broad. Should have made that. Should have made. He has days when everything goes in. David Carter, a 66. Jim Payne, 67. Miguel Angel Jimenez, the 65. Raffassoni, 67. And 67s also Nicholas Fast, Jamie Spence, and Gordon Brown Jr. Monty already's got an Audi. Do with another one. Safely on. Paul Laurie and Bob May, 66s. Per Ulrich Johansson, a 68. Andrew Coulthard, a 67. Ross McFarlane, a 74. Rare bad round. Santiago Luna, 69. John van der Velde, a 67. So you can see the scoring. Most of the players in the 60s. Sevi Ballesteros, a 65 yesterday, and he said, course is too easy. 72 today. Peter Baker, 29 tomorrow. Everybody waiting really now for Darren Clarke to make a mistake. That was 2 years ago. Bogeyed this hole to let Sevi in. Three-way playoff with Jose Maria Olafable, and Sevi won it with a birdie. Just had a couple of weeks off for Ernie. Here for 3 weeks now after Dunhill Cup next week, and then tries to make it 3 in a row at Wentworth in the World Match Play. Important for Darren Clarke that Billy Foster on the back, of course, was there in the great days, or many of the great days, for Severiano. And he's never stopped believing in this man. 28-year-old from Northern Ireland. Let's finish this year, third in the Deutsche Bank TPC at Gutkarden up in Hamburg. Big swing on this one, and he's under-hit it. Not bad from that range. Davis to go to within one shot of the lead. 6 birdies and an eagle so far. Oh, make that 7 birdies. Davis goes to 23 under. What a week it is for the man from Essex. 32-year-old from High Ongar. 2 times winner, both times in Austria. 91 and 94. Played quite nicely this year up until the English Open. Since then, well, from 14, just 2 small checks. Billy Foster's earning his money. The story was with Darren's putting getting a little too tense over the ball. Just needs to relax, get a bit of feel. Just like that. Leader but by just 1 now. So a bit of pressure on. If Davis can post a birdie at the last, who knows? Maybe too much for Colin Montgomery to do now. Of course, he may not believe that. 21 under. And he's almost there, number 1, get the champagne on ice. But Darren Clarke leading by just 1 from Mark Davis, with Montgomery and Broadhurst at 21 under. Terrific golf, and there will be more after the break. Don't go away, see you then. Welcome back to the final round of the Linde German Masters, where not everybody's got their head in the water. Michael Campbell hasn't achieved his target of top 7 this week. He's pulled out of the Dunhill Cup to play in the Oki Pro-Am. to avoid a trip to San Roque, the qualifying school. We've got highlights next Saturday and Sunday evening of that Hockey Pro-Am from Madrid. £450,000 prize fund, and a very important week for a lot of players, and not least of all Michael Campbell, who seemed to have the golfing world at his feet at this time last year. Playing with Ernie Els, #2 in the world. You see quite a tricky pin placing at 18. We've had rounds of 63 for Thomas Bjorn, Jose Caceres 66, Ronan Rafferty a 65, Thomas Gergler that's 64, Mark James is 68, Constantina Rocker is 66. We are at 17, and only a wedge for Darren Clarke, and the one thing he mustn't do is put it in the water on the right hand side. Three threes here so far, and understandably a touch cautious, pin high, just in the left hand fringe. Understandable. Almost there. It's been a long time coming. Lost the playoff last year at Penhalonga in the Portuguese Open to Adam Hunter. 100% man, Colin Montgomery. If he can't finish first, he'll finish second, and if not third or fourth, there's a 3 wood off the tee. Winning the Volvo rankings means that if he turns up at Valderrama, and he surely will, he collects a £150,000 bonus from the Volvo bonus pool for being #1. Davis wouldn't have been thinking in terms of Valderrama, 103rd in the rankings. Could over these next 2 weeks make a late run into the grand finale of the season, who knows. You'll be able to see the Volvo Masters also live on Eurosport, and also action from the World Match Play, so plenty of golf still to come this year. Peter Mitchell, who really lacks a win this year. He's been so consistent. A number of top 10 finishes, and it looks like he's going to add another one this week. Perhaps not the victory though. Broadhurst, a birdie chance at 15, second into 16. Give himself a chance again. Anything else for a round of 64? Started last year, or 2 years ago, 63, 64. He will have completed the weekend without a single bogey on his card. Just refreshed after a couple of weeks back in South Africa. It's quietly crept to #2 in the world. Just the one win, the Buick Classic in America this year, where he now plays most of his golf. Not a bad crowd today. The brothers would like to see a few more. Will come. But golf starting to grow in this what used to be Eastern Bloc. Just down the road we've got the Polish Open, part of the Challenge Tour. I remember David Hart from the British Embassy writing to me a couple of years ago about the Polish Open. Hope you're still involved, David, and you will have enjoyed that. I'll give you the results in a minute. Let's watch Michael Campbell first of all though. And Warsaw, Errol Simsek, the German of Turkish background, winning on the Challenge Tour from Dennis Edlund and Christophe Potier, with Greg Chalmers in 4th place with Frederick Larsen, Vanslo Phillips in a share of 9th place, and of course the Challenge Tour Grand Finale at Quinta de Peru near Lisbon. It's either next week or the week after, but 15 cars up for grabs for the leading lights on the Challenge Tour. Can apply their trade on the Big Boys Tour next year. McGinley to try and finish birdie with much dosh. This is for a 65. Nicely done, 20 under, and he will surely feel that, having been the halfway leader, perhaps to back 9 on Saturday when he had 9 straight pars, didn't pick up a shot, and a round of 70 may have cost him dear. But a good finish from McGinley, 20 under. Here's Mitchell for birdie at 17 and never really had the pace to hold the line.
Away, boys.
So golf being played in Poland, in Moscow as well, the boundaries ever expanding. This is Ernie Els for a 65, all 4 rounds in the 60s comfortably. 68, 67, 68 and 65 to finish level with McGinley at 20 under. As I say, a weekend without a single bogey. And you get that one, I don't play. There will still be a little more work for Michael Campbell to do next week, and certainly has the ability to make it. Had to rejig his swing, got a wrist injury, and had to remodel the swing to compensate. Yeah, it's been a good week. Headed in the right direction. 67, the highlight, maybe the eagle at the 8th, but getting the last 8 holes, 8 pars, when if you're only making pars, you're going backwards because most people are making birdies. Clarke leading by 1.
Get in.
Oh, he's leading by 2 now. That gives him a cushion going down the last. Well, all afternoon you've been able to really feel the momentum going Clarke's way. Huge talent. 2 clear of Mark Davis now. So a par at the last for the low finish on this year's European Tour. Can Paul Broadhurst catch him? No, there goes another one, and we can safely say the hole back to normal size, maybe a touch smaller now. Good, Broadhurst has been passing up a chance or 2. He's at 21 under, but he could so easily, and perhaps should be 23 under. Centre shot from Montgomery. Not an easy pin to get really close to, but he's playing quite beautifully at the moment. Remember, first 2 rounds, a couple of double bogeys. Now Davis, he could make Clarke sweat if he makes a 3 here at 18. And he has a chance. So there's a situation. Mark Davis nicely placed on 18, chance to finish at 24 under. He will have a putt to equal the course record at 61. That never really looked in danger from Russell Clayton, but it's been that kind of week. Destiny though with Darren Clarke. Don't miss us when we return. Steve Beddow in the bunker, your hot air specialist. And that's been one of the features of this week, the hot air balloon rides quietly over this Berliner Golf and Country Club. And those who watch the golf have marvelled at the standards. Here's the leader. Final tee shot. Nicely down the middle. Tomorrow at Stoke Poges, it's the third regional final of the Honda Team Golf Championship. Over 1,300 clubs took part, and Stoke Poges tomorrow, Nigel Mansell should have been playing for Woodbury Park, the course of the Owens in Devon, with his partner Paul Sweeney, but Nigel's injured, has had to pull out, and we'll hope that his substitute and Paul will get through to the final in Portugal. First and runners-up get through. They've already had 2 regional finals, teams from the Ronda, Oak Ridge, Worsley and Crowness Park through to Portugal. And after Stoke Poges, the final will be, the final qualifier at Western Gale. So I hope that goes well tomorrow. I hope the forecast is not too bad. If you get conditions like this, then you can't complain. There was Colin Montgomery for 64, but he will have to settle for the second successive 65. And there he is, number 1 for the 4th year running, and been a great contest between Montiani and Woosnam. Woosnam winning 4 times, but for sheer consistency, Montgomery always, for me, just having the edge. Now Mark Davis, this tournament may not be over yet. Davis, previous low round, a couple of 64s, has this for a 61 to equal Russell Clayton's tour record. He had 8 birdies and 1 eagle. This downhill moving from right to left. Well, he gave it a go, never really had the line. And second place money here, over £72,000, and if Mark can clinch that, that for sure will be the biggest check of his career. Might have won that kind of money for winning in Austria. Now Porter Carrington almost won the Audi on day 2 when he dented the bodywork with a shot that hit the pin. I'll tell you what, you're not so far away again. Now Greg Turner will play at St Andrews next week in place of Michael Campbell, but he's just had one of those sort of days that you can have. That was for a 70, it will be a 71, couple of birdies, just the 1 bogey. Overall, steady week, 15 under, but he needed some inspiration early on. He had to get the momentum going, get the adrenaline running. Didn't happen. 62 then for Mark Davis. If he knocks this one in, no formality, but the greens are so true. Well done. What a good round. Coming almost out of nowhere. Started with a 69, then a couple of 67s, and that's 62, the round of his life. And he sets the target. May not be quite good enough, but you can't ask much more. 62, and I'll take my chance. Montgomery with the 65 clinches the Harry Varden Trophy for the 4th year running. I'm not perhaps too aware of the significance of that, but you can bet Monty is. And again, not a bogey on the card. And once again, a year's work well carried out. So just 2-3 balls left out on the course. And the winner likely to be Darren Clarke. You can see the player of McGregor clubs. It'll be the 2nd year running. McGregor have lifted this title. Anders Forsbrand, one of their star players as well, who won last year. I'm sure Phil Morley will be delighted about that.
Is it enough to get me on the green, Ness?
It's enough to get you on the green.
Okay.
Good one of them, Des.
final words of encouragement from Billy Foster. And from Dungannon, who lives in Portrush because he loves the courses there so much. He's not a bad judge. Doesn't like it now. Where's that going? It's a little left and into that pot bunker just short of the pin. Maybe one club more. I guess he was looking for a birdie to equal the course record. A 3 here, and it would have been a 61. Now he's just made it a little bit harder for himself, but he will still give him victory. Doing it the hard way. Peter Mitchell. Looking to get to 19 under. Paul Eales has played tidily as ever. He's 4 under for the day. And stuck in a 67 rut, 4 in a row. Last round last year and the first 3 rounds this year, but he's let that go into the sand and it could have been worse. A lot of money at stake here. Be looking to get up into the top 50. Just rubber stamp that position at Valderrama in the Volvo Masters because he's not playing in Madrid next week. He's going to be doing television commentary for the World Feed Television at St Andrews. Now another birdie chance for Paul Broadhurst. 3 in a row. Well, just when he needed them most. How frustrating is that? He's had a chance to win. Maybe 7 out of 9, top 10. Surely now, but could have been better. Should have been better. Another left to righter for Harrington. Just escaping. So here's Darren Clarke, not quite a standing ovation because there's still a little more work to do, but he's very, very close now. And will we see Darren Clarke crowned the winner of the Linde German Masters after the break? See you then to find out. Last time, Linde German Masters, final round. And Darren Clarke surely about to be crowned as the 1996 winner. 2-shot lead. Bogey will do. Now if that had hopped in, that would have been for a 61 to equal the course record. Told my colleague Angus Loughran at the Open and Living when they had a chat that just a matter of time till he won if he could just get the putting going. So Paul Eales, disappointing second shot. Now the pro from Royal Lytham, who's had a good week again. Top 10 last year, about to do it again. Needs to get up and down though. Swing of the club now, just grip, not as close as he would have hoped. So Peter Mitchell. Now I suspect that Mitchell and Eales will try and get their business finished and leave the stage clear for Darren Clarke. There's Paul McGinley about to dash for the airport, but didn't want to miss this moment, just waiting behind to shake the hand of Darren Clarke. They'll be teammates, of course, next week. Good finish at last. So Mitchell finishes at 19 under, a round of 67 to close. And that was Saturday's 64. Put him in a position to challenge. Good start, 4 birdies in the first 5 holes, and then just went a little wrong before the turn, dropping shots at 7 and 9, which you wouldn't normally reckon to do. Mitchell's line and pace. Oh, down he slumps to a 68 after all those 67s, but a good week, and for the 2nd year running, top 10 finish for Paul Eales, and secures his place in the Volvo Masters. Well, it's early to start talking about Ryder Cups, but we always seem to have an Irish hero in the European team. It was Philip Wharton last year. Before, Christy O'Connor Jr., Eamon Darcy. And I wonder if Darren Clarke might have a little place in history at Valderrama next year. This would be a massive step towards his bid for a place in the team. He wasn't so far away 2 years ago. But for a 62. Around. He's once fired a 60 at Monte Carlo. And that was a little jerky, but when you've got 2 putts, well, the answer is take them. And he taps in for a 63, his only bogey of the day, and that surely is Darren Clarke's 2nd win. Warm congratulations from Billy Foster, who's played an important part as well. And that's the lovely thing about golf. If you can't win, you're delighted for the man that does. And look at that from Paul McGinley, as well as from Paul Eales and Peter Mitchell. Got his round going on fire with that eagle at the 4th hole, and eagle 2, and never really looked back after that. So I don't think anybody can catch him now, although there is the 1 match out on the course. .24 under equals the low finish by a winner, Colin Montgomery at Cron. There's Harrington, a little left and long at 18. Of course, went into the water yesterday, and probably mindful of that. Now, he has a putt to stay ahead of Raymond Russell, Thomas Bjorn. Raymond Russell having missed the cut, but those are the 3 concerned in the race for Rookie of the Year. Peter Bacon, no early birthday present. Only the 1 birdie on the back 9. And both he and Paul Broadhurst had their chances. It's a 68. He taps that in to be 20 under. You can see this time the right hand below the left, so he thinks it's going to swing from right to left as we look at it and he looks at it. Through 67. Lines up a little shut and then takes it outside the line, and not quite so. It's 63 for Thomas Bjorn, good enough to finish level with Padraig Harrington, and that race will continue right down the line. Bjorn's playing next week in Madrid, certainly Harrington's in St Andrews, so it may be that Thomas Bjorn takes a little advantage in going into the Volvo Masters. But again, a good week for Harrington, fabulous year. Now Broadhurst for be for 3rd place on his own. He's level with Colin Montgomery at the moment, 21 under par. This for 66 to Finish at 22 under 2 behind. Well, at least he finished on a high, but could have perhaps been better. 15, 16 and 17, all birdie opportunities and none accepted. He is the man in form. Now the final putt of the 1996 Linde German Masters from Peter Baker. He finishes at 20 under. Good workmanlike performance. But the winner, Darren Clarke. Winning by 1, but he knew that a bogey would be good enough at 18. Mark Davis, second for the second time running this year, and Paul Broadhurst with that birdie at 18 up into third place on his own. But Colin Montgomery, many congratulations, number 1 again. The scoring wherever you look is low. Well, that's about it from me. It's been just over 4 years, most of which I've enjoyed, and thanks for your company over those 4 years. Many highlights, I guess. The highlight, the Ryder Cup winning back again last year, but as ever, the future of European golf looks very good indeed when young talent like Darren Clarke continues to come through. That's it. I'm Steve Beddow, and I'm out of here. Bye.
The PGA European Tour was brought to you by Volvo.